Alrighty. What's up, people? How we doing? I see a couple of you are trickling in right now. I started it like 2 minutes early just so we can get more people in earlier on. Let's check the chat. Happy Friday, Brian. Let's get it. It is Friday. One more week. Well, close enough, and then we'll get Thanksgiving. What's up, Richard? Good to have you in here, man. This is gonna be a good one today. What's up, Greg? It's gonna be a very, very, very good one. I'm excited for it. Can you guys hear me well? Let me check the mic. I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys could hear me, but just in case. All right, perfect. Just want to make sure you hear me through this mic. And that's the only thing. I'll go to device settings. Yes. Perfect. Cool. Cool. Let me check what else. Anything else? What's up, Ali? What's up, Ankit? Ray, good to see you, man. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, Matt. I'm excited for this one. There's a lot to learn in this webinar, honestly. And you guys know I like to keep things straightforward and straight to the point. There is going to be around like 5 voice AI callers for this one. But don't get afraid or anything like that. I definitely want to show you guys kind of like what I mean by that in terms of reactivation. We'll get to it more in detail, of course, but just know that there's going to be around 5 callers that I've made for this webinar itself. So definitely excited for it. Can't wait to show you guys. I used to be in the mortgage industry for almost decades. I'm curious to see how this connection works. That's awesome, Richard. Good to have you in here then. Yeah. For the prompting, I did more of like a general type of prompting as well, so that way you guys are able to modify it just as you want. So of course, keep in mind that the prompt isn't as streamlined as you may think it is, but this is more of like a use case of like what you would do in this case scenario. So definitely wanting to show you guys. So all right, we're just gonna wait 1 or 2 more minutes to get more people in here, and we can go ahead and start. What's up, Lewis? Good to have you in here, man. And then after, I'll test the live stream. Also, for those of you who don't know, of course, this will be recorded, and I will also drop the entire prompt from what I have right here on my end. I'm gonna take out the affiliate links. I don't need that on there. Let me share this with you guys. Okay, so I just sent in the chat kind of like the webinar for this one. It has the prompting that we're going to be using, and obviously you guys can take care of that on your end. Like I said, it's a general prompt, so whenever it has brackets, it means that you will be able to change those brackets up with whatever you want. However, I would recommend that you just change the prompting to like entirely, but just keep the same formatting itself, because this is the formatting that basically Synthflow is using right now. So for those of you who may not know, I'm going to go ahead and start it off right now, since we have a good amount of people in here. All right. Let me know if you guys can see the screen. Just give me a thumbs up. You guys not able to see it? Let me check. All right. Okay, so if you guys are able to hear me and you can see this, perfect. Let's go ahead and get started with everything. All right, so as you guys may know, the main purpose of this webinar is going to be reactivating cold leads, right? So people that you had contact with before, but you lost contact with them, and then you want to just basically go ahead and reactivate them. You want to essentially have an entire voice AI team like for yourself that can go ahead and call these leads over and over again until you actually go ahead and get them back as like a warm lead or somebody that booked in a meeting. Now that's going to be the main purpose of the voice AI itself, but I'm going to explain something real quick. Usually what we do for builds is just one voice AI, right? One thing that could go ahead and obviously one voice AI can call many people, but it doesn't create multiple different scenarios for that person that's getting called. Usually they're receiving the exact, like the person, the user, the end user essentially is receiving the same exact call 24/7. We're basically talking, if you make one prompt, it's obviously going to run the call that voice AI has. It's going to run the same way almost every single time. Obviously depending on how the conversation goes, but you get what I mean. So what we have done here is I want to show you guys what you can do with voice AI, right? Think about it. We can create as many employees as we want, and I want you guys to use that, right? That's the whole point of having voice AI. You can create your entire team. That's all it is. So this is the essence, right, of what needs to happen with a sales team. Not everybody's going to work the same. If you have, let's say, a human sales team, not everybody's going to talk the same. Not everyone is going to make the same type of call every single time, right? So that's essentially what we're trying to replicate here with voice AI. So this means that every single one of these voice AIs has like a different type of prompt. Now, of course, I made the general prompt right here for you guys to have. But I show you how to use these 5, right, within an automation in this webinar itself. So definitely watch the recording after this if you need to. It's going to be one of the most advanced promptings that I've done. As a sneak peek, here's kind of like what it looks like right here. But we'll go on straight into it, right? And by the way, you guys don't need to remake this entire thing. And what I mean by that is if you have your own account, right, you can basically go in here, browse your templates, and I made it for you guys right here. So you guys could see, you can just go ahead and create it and you can import it. So that's what I've done for you guys, and definitely do it that way. So that way you save a lot of time for yourself. So let's go in and get straight into the build itself. So first of all, of course, this is Emma. Emma is the mortgage lead qualifier to reactivating the campaign itself. Now, for now, right, we want to keep using version 1.0. Synthflow is still working on version 2.0, and it's going to be amazing. I guarantee it, but it's just not at the point where we could use it satisfactory yet. So we keep it at version 1.0, which is no big deal. It's the same thing. It works perfectly. And then we move on to the voice, right? So with the voice, we're going to be using Bria, Youngsoft, and like I mentioned, there's many other voices. I have a list of them, of the best ones that we could use. And so far, right, I'm just wanting to give you this one for this, right? So each of the 5 has to have different voices, and we'll go over all the 5s with their specific settings, because I've went through all of these, and I'll tell you this, I've played around with the settings for each and every one of them. Each and every one of them will have the best settings. So make sure to copy them, right? If you want to use them for your own business. So right here, as you can see, these are the settings for Bria. The patience level, we leave it at medium. Stability is at 0.4. Style exaggeration is at 0.1. Similarity is at 0.70. And then optimized latency is at 1. And then, of course, down here in voice prompting, you could just say she fast. Now, if we go over the call configuration, I don't really change much of this. There's not much that needs to be changed. This is really all preference. Now, if you want her to speak 1 second after the call starts, you can definitely do that. I don't really mind. I just leave it at 0. It doesn't matter. Voicemail detection, for those of you who don't understand what voicemail ML-based and time-based is. ML-based is basically the LLM trying to identify if it's a voicemail or not. Time-based is just it's timed. So if it passes 4 seconds after the call starts with no person like saying anything, right, to the voice AI, time-based is going to detect that, and it's just going to hang up the call. So for those of you who are making a large volume of calls, you could use time-based, and of course, it's not going to the voice AI is not going to stay in a call for like a minute or so. You know what I mean? So that's just one thing. But I like it ML based just in case someone does speak, like in the 5th or 6th second. You know what I mean? So moving on, I like to keep my idle reminders at 8 seconds just to make sure that, after 8 seconds, and it's not constantly saying, hey, this, blah, blah, or interrupting the person. Keep it at 8 seconds. It's usually a good amount. And then, of course, these are all preferences as well. Definitely, from what I've experienced, I wouldn't turn on speaker boost. Makes it sound a lot different. I don't personally like it, but it's really up to you. So those are the settings for voice and call configuration. Now, we can obviously go over the prompting itself. Now, this prompt type and the style has been studied so much. I've tried to perfect this for you guys as much as possible, and you can look further into it, of course, if you like. It's pretty self-explanatory, and that's the whole reason that it makes it a good prompt, right? For as good as the voice AI can understand it, if the voice AI can understand it really well, that pretty much shows how good it is. So let's go ahead and move on, right? So obviously we start with the who you are. I tell who it is, the purpose of the call. I'm not going to be going into the details because, like I mentioned, this is going to vary depending on what you guys are building. So for this, right, the purpose of the call, you will give it a purpose of the call. But you can go along the lines of what I did, right? So next, there's call actions. And as you can see, there is a hierarchy of things within here. So call actions, right? That's one hashtag. And what does that mean? That's basically one header. So there's header 1, header 2, and header 3. Header 1 being the biggest, header 3 being the smallest. Now, if you go throughout that hierarchy, right, call actions is the biggest, essentially. Now, what happens under call actions? Well, the greeting and purpose introduction. Now, maybe if you want to add more things within greeting and purpose introduction, you could use 3 hashtags. And there's no such thing as 4 hashtags. So don't use anything above 3. So that this itself helps the AI understand what is going to happen. There's no need, and I'm pretty sure maybe some of you guys are doing this, but there's no need to numerize what's going to happen within the call. I feel like that may confuse the AI a little bit. So don't do that. Let's keep it like this. It's way easier to understand. If you even go to GPT, it gives you the prompts just like that. Yeah, but you get what I mean. So now, obviously, we'll go over some of the typical ones that I've mentioned in the past, like say something like gives the voice AI the flexibility to not just go over and read a quotation. So you want to make sure to have say something like on almost basically before every single quotation. So that way, if they ever say something that's not along the lines of the conversation, it can go ahead and reply to that and then go back into the conversation. So that's the reason we have say something like. And then, of course, we add extra parameters that you want to make sure to happen, such as if they continue, do this. If they seem hesitant, do this or say something like this. And these are called branches within a prompt. This is creating branches for the voice AI. So essentially, if you have a branch for it, one thing could happen. Let's say, for example, I like the color red or I like the color blue. And the voice AI asked me that. So if I like the color red, it puts me down a specific branch. So that is why we have stuff like this within the prompt itself. And the voice AI understands it perfectly. So moving on, right? There are other things that you do want to add within a prompt, which are, let me see if I have it. So things like this, right? So do not proceed without gathering first name. Do not proceed without gathering last name. These are all things that matter because right now, as this with the state of the voice AI, sometimes if the voice AI gets interrupted, it will actually just proceed with the call. So like if I'm the voice AI and I was about to ask you about let's say, okay, what's your last name? And then I get interrupted and okay, what, and then that's where I get cut off. The voice AI would literally proceed, thinking that it would have the last name, but obviously it depends. That was kind of like a different example. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. But I would definitely guarantee, in order to guarantee that it doesn't happen, you want to make sure to add these parameters on here so you have that installed. Okay, and then of course another thing is if right. Oh, no, where is it? So there's another parameter that says if you ever get interrupted, make sure to go back to the statement you were saying in the past. Make sure to also add that as well. For this one, I kind of did update it, so obviously it's not on here, but you guys get the gist of it. So essentially, the main goal of this voice AI is to rebook them into a meeting because they showed interest in the past. So that's how it looks like, and I don't want to go too far into it because we still have a lot to cover. Now, right here in the first name, in the information extractor, what we're going to be doing is obviously connecting the first name, the last name, if they were busy or not, which looks like this, the homeownership status, which looks like that, income range, obviously, like I mentioned, this will be recorded so you guys can go back. The credit score right here, so you could have that. The intended property use right there. The interest, right? So this is very important. Was the user interested or not? Very important, and we'll use these later on. Appointment booked. Did the user book an appointment? And of course, D&D. Did the user not want to be request to be contacted anymore, or says do not call me? Basically, what that means is if somebody's bothered or doesn't want to be called again, we will identify it within the voice AI. The voice AI will identify it, and then we will make sure that the D&D gets activated within the GoHighLevel automation. Now, lastly, of course, you also want to book them into a meeting. So as you can already tell, you can go ahead and connect your GoHighLevel calendar or whatever type of calendar that you have. I'm sure you guys already understand how to do this, so there's no need to explain it too far into detail. Okay, now, one thing that we definitely want to do is connect this webhook right here. So let's go in and let's start practicing what would happen. So as you guys may already know, there are 5 different types of these callers. Now let's go ahead and go into the voices that you guys could use for yourself in order to implement them, right? So right here, for this one, I use Natasha. Natasha's still one of the best ones. So you could easily use Natasha on there, along with those settings that I showed you. I don't think I've changed the voices, actually. Hold on. Well, yeah. Well, it should be okay. Either way, if you guys want me to show you some voices, I can show you after the webinar. No problem, whatever. Let's move on to the opportunities tab right here. Now, what will happen within this pipeline, right? And it's pretty simple. It's relatively simple. So they could either book in a meeting while they were interested, right? So they could be interested in book the meeting. They could be interested in didn't book a meeting. They could be busy throughout the call. So now we actually amplified and further enhanced the way that we are gathering information from a call. So we can actually identify whether they were busy and wanted to be called back at a specific time and use that to our advantage. So if they're busy, we will identify that. if they were not interested, if the call failed, or if the call reached voicemail. Now, this is the prompt that we're going to be going over. Sorry, not the prompt. This is the automation that we're going to be going over. Now, we'll start off very simplistic, and don't get afraid of like everything that's happening here. I know there's a lot of arrows pointing to a lot of places, but it's relatively simple, and I'll explain right now. So essentially, here is what's going to happen. First of all, as you guys may already know, they are dormant leads, which means you should have some way of identifying that they are dormant leads already. So if you already have a list or a CSV file or something that you already have within GoHighLevel, you could easily go here and add them into the automation, right? Now, how do you add somebody into an automation? From this contact list. Let's say, for example, this person right here, okay? You just go right here, press on this icon, proceed, and then you add them into the automation that you wanted. Let's say it's this one, right, which is the one that we were going to be using, and then you can name it anything, and then add to the automation. So you will do that with a huge contact list right here. If you want to select all, you easily can, but you guys get the gist, right? So from here on out, right, let's take a step back. What is going to happen? Once you add, let's say 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 contacts into this automation right here, what is going to happen, right? So we're first going to add a tag that says AI called, because the AI is going to call them no matter what. Then we're going to assign it to a user. So in this case, it's just going to be myself. After that, we are going to check whether we are going to be making this call within business hours or not. This is preference. If you want to have this, you definitely can. I recommend it. Stay on the legal side of things. But if you don't want to have it, obviously that's up to you. So we call them from 9 to 5 p.m. And then after that happens, we are going to add a couple of things, right? So first of all, the most important, D&D verification. You do not want to call anybody if they had D&D on, right? So if they have D&D on, we're going to send them down a path that just takes them out of the automation itself. Now, how do we identify D&D? We identify D&D by just including a tag, and I'll show you guys where the tags are going to be added next in the future, okay? So let's say, for example, somebody didn't have D&D on, right? Okay, so the first thing we're going to want to do is add them in drip mode. For example, what's going to happen with this drip mode? So as you guys may already know, there is a concurrent call limit for Synthflow. And in order for you to follow that concurrent call limit, this is what they meant by adding the leads or the users essentially in batches. So you want to make sure to add them in batches within here. So that way, you can only do 10 every minute and you don't do just the 4,000 like straight off the bat. That's just not going to work. It's going to cause a lot of things to break. So after that, right, you want to make sure that you add business hours. Again, right, the reason for this is because if they went past through the other one and they go through this itself, it's just extra parameters that you want to have here in order for them to actually be sent throughout business hours. So make sure to have that. And then, of course, we do another drip mode down here. This is just for precaution. You could have them. You don't need to. I just like to add them just in case. So I'd recommend you do too. Now, first of all, this is Emma. This is the first caller that we're going to have on here. Now, as you guys may already know, Emma is the first one down here that I already showed you guys. And essentially, she's the one that's going to be making the initial call. Now, as you guys may already know, each and every single one of them is going to have a different prompt to make a different type of experience for the person that is getting called. That is the whole purpose of this. You could use this for anything else, but you want to make sure that you use this. You want to make sure they just don't have the same prompt every single time. Or maybe even change the voices, and it'll do that. But you typically want to change the voices, and you also want to change the prompt to make it a very different experience. So after that, I did take inspiration from Gabe. So thank you, Gabe. I wanted to shout him out. And we use a times called identifier now. It is a way more efficient way of doing it in comparison to how I had it in the past. Now, right here, we use a times called identifier. Now, what is that? What is a times called identifier? basically it's just a custom field. That's all it is. So you want to make sure, right, that right here you add a times called identifier. But what do we need for a times called identifier? Right, so I'm going to show you guys right now. You just go right here, you create a new custom field on the top, you just name it whatever you want. I just named it times called identifier, and then you make it as a number, right? The field selected is going to be number. So that's going to be the type of custom field, just a number. So that way it serves as an equation, okay? So what do I mean by that? Every single time that somebody gets called, let's say Emma makes a call right here, we add a +1. So we add the value number 1 to the times called identifier. So that way we can identify under here in this if-else condition how many times they've been called. That's all it is. You just want to make sure that you have that. So that way we identify how many times they've been called and where they need to be sent. Okay? So this basically just adds a +1. If it was 0 before, then it's a 1. If it's 1, after Jack calls over here, it's going to become a 2. After it goes to the second operation, you get it. You guys are smart enough. So over here in the condition, this is where we're going to be identifying it. So if the follow-up equals 1, right, we're going to keep calling them. Follow-up equals 2, we keep calling them. 3, keep calling them. 4, keep calling them. And then if the follow-up is greater than 4, we stop calling them. It's as simple as that. Now, right, let's say, for example, it's the first one, right? Follow-up number 1. That means that we already made this call itself. We add the tag. We say follow-up 1. Okay? This gathers basically just, it's extra information for you to have. Now, we add a wait time. So this is going to be 24 hours, and we're going to call them once again within business hours, right? So we go to, now this is where it gets interesting. I basically just add an action right here that says go to, and then I can't add it because I already have one under it, but we add a go to action, and then this go to is going to be leading straight into this DND verification. Why do we want to identify the DND? Right? Well, we want to identify the DND because of this call. Before I get into this, you guys need to understand this automation. Now, what is that automation that I just showed you right there? Basically, every single time that Emma gets called, we have Emma connected to a webhook. So the webhook that I showed you guys earlier, this one, that one that I said was important, this webhook is going to be connected to this inbound webhook here, this automation. So that whenever Emma makes a call, we gather the information from that call, map the references, and it goes through the entire automation once again. Now, I'm going to explain this before I go back into this automation. I want to keep things as simple as possible because obviously it's going to get a little bit tangled if you lose track of it. So just to recap, we made the first call. Now we're basically identifying what happened throughout that first call. Okay. So once we gather that inbound webhook, let's say I make a call, I have a conversation with Emma, and Emma, let's say, books me into a meeting, whatever. What's going to happen is I get identified, right? I go through here. Emma doesn't know who this automation does not know who I am whatsoever. So that's why we go and find the contact. So we find a contact by their phone number. So we go inbound webhook request phone number. Now, how do you find this inbound webhook request phone number? Just go right here, lead phone number. As you can see right there, it's going to add it right here. Now, this is basically going to find the contact that you're having in this automation and just continue it from there, right? This really doesn't need to be in here. A created contact doesn't need to be in here, but I added it just in case the find contact gets skipped. So just in case, add it there. But we're going to update the contact field information. Now, you guys remember all of the fields that I had before? I don't even know. I have these headphones on. You guys remember all the fields that I had before? So essentially the home ownership status, the income range, the credit score, the intended property use, so on and so forth. The ones that we added throughout the info extractors right here under actions, those are the ones that we're adding on here as an update. Okay? So how do we add them in as fields? Well, the same way that we added the times called identifier. You basically go right here, add a field. Always make sure that that field has a single line text input. Okay? Depending on what it is, of course, but I like to have it as single line so it's very easy for me to follow. So from there on out, we want to make sure that let me go back on track. Okay. We want to make sure that we connect each and every one of them into their inbound webhook. So, sorry. Yeah, right here, inbound webhook trigger. So for example, if I want to go ahead and connect home ownership status, an easy way that will save you guys a lot of time is just copy the first section of it and right here, home ownership status, and we'll bring that up. And then of course, income range. So we'll gather the income range the same way. Bam, income range, same thing. Credit score right here, so on and so forth until you connected all of the fields. And then I added 3 extra other fields that basically show you more information of the call. So the call ID, the call recording, the call transcript. And I do the same thing to connect them. So once I have that on there, I'm going to identify whether the call was failed, whether the call reached voicemail, or whether the call was answered. If the call reached voicemail, it's going to send them into the opportunity stage that I showed you guys earlier. All right, so right here, I reached voicemail. If they have a call failed, right, it's going to send them to that call failed stage right here. Same thing. And then if they answer, here's where it gets interesting, right? Because we want to make sure that each and every single one of the contacts has like a set of notes to go by, right? So we know exactly what happened throughout the call. We have the caller info. We have, and I'll actually expand this for you guys. Caller info with the name, phone number, email, the caller info right here. So the call info with the call ID, call recording, call summary, call transcript. And then that's going to be so much easier for you guys to understand from there on out, because if you go into the contacts, and I'll show you guys right here something cool. Let me go to another one. Let's just say appointments. Right here. Let's say myself. It'll literally add the entire thing. It'll add the entire call here. So you can go in, look at all the past calls. Oh, look, call number 1. Look, call number 2, call number 3, so on and so forth. So you have it all there, and it's very easy to keep track of for that. Now, once that happens, right, we go ahead and remove all these tags. So was busy, interested, booked appointment, interested, didn't book appointment, and the last one is not interested, right? The reason we add these is because let's say we called them already and we added all these tags right here. We want to remove the tags that we added before in order to proceed and add new tags to update the contact. Okay. So what is going to happen here? It's relatively simple. Sorry, my jaw hurts. What's going to happen here? Relatively simple. So we have a busy stage. Were they busy throughout the call, which we identify with the info extractor itself? If they were busy and it contains true, we send them down this path. If they were interested and booked a meeting, which is with the appointment, like the info extractor that identifies whether they booked an appointment or not, and the info extractor that identifies whether they were interested or not. So if they were interested, which is true, and they booked an appointment, they get sent down this path. If they were not interested, wait, actually this is backwards. True, false. If they were interested and didn't book an appointment, they get sent down this path. If they were not interested, which contains false, they get sent down this path, and so on and so forth. And then, of course, turned on DND. If they turned on DND, we want to make sure to also have that on there. So you save that, and we go over to the busy. So here we basically just add a tag that was busy. Here we add them into the opportunity pipeline. Same thing on here. So we add the tags interested, booked appointment, interested, didn't book appointment, and not interested, and DND. This is the most important one. So then we add them into their each separate opportunities. And then what happens differently within here, right? So if they were interested and didn't book an appointment, we don't want to call them again because we had a call with them. But and obviously this depends on you, but we will make a manual call. So we will add them in so you could call them yourself. I feel like that's the best way to go about it. Now, if they were interested and booked an appointment, we want to remove them from the initial workflow, which is this one, right? Same thing goes with this one, as well as not interested, as well as turn D&D, of course. And then that should be it for this automation itself. And I'm going to go over some of the questions once I finish this last part, but I'll get straight onto that in just a second. Okay, so make sure to leave all your questions right now in the chat so that way once I'm done through this, I'm going to go ahead and start answering each and every one of them. Okay, so now that we know what happens after every single one of these calls, every single one of these yellow actions you see here, what is going to happen after the first call, right? Follow up one, keep calling. We're going to have a go-to action that leads them into this DND verification right here. Now, this should be has DND off, has DND on. Cool. Okay, so if they have DND off, then we're just going to go through the same thing. Drip mode, business hours, drip mode, call, math operation, and then we go back, right? So I put a go back option that leads to the condition once again. Okay? So it identifies then, okay, follow up 2. It goes through the whole thing, go to, now it sends it to path B, which is Jennifer. Okay? Jennifer goes through the whole thing, go to action, sends it back over here, follow up 3. Now we're going to have a call with path C, so Tony. And then it's the same thing, and then we do it with Angie. So hopefully you guys understand that. That is the entire build. That is essentially what is going on through this whole thing. I feel like it looks complicated, but once you understand it, it's actually very simple. Okay, so I'm going to go and drink water right now and then go over some of the questions. All right, so let me go ahead and pull these. I'm not sure, actually. All right. So, question number 1. I will share my screen here so you guys could see and have it on here. Well, I think you guys could still see it. I don't know why it's not letting me stop sharing it. Maybe it's glitching. But either way, I'm going to go over some of the questions. Can we have the recording of this after so we can review it ourselves? Yes, of course, you'll have the recording. And I did send, for those of you who missed it, I'm going to go ahead and resend my the document I made for you guys so that way you could have it. Sending it once again through the chat. This includes all the prompt, everything that you need to know. Okay? Let's see what else. Usually we default to time-based. Is there a reason you decided ML-based for this particular build? Brian, the only reason I decided ML-based is because if you have time-based, I've noticed that there are some calls that we miss. So I've even tested it with myself. Sometimes I have it call me, and then it pretty much goes and hangs up after 4 seconds of it ringing, I believe is what it is. I don't know if there's a way to increase that. I feel like they should. There should be a way to increase that. Maybe there is, and I don't know about it. But I feel like there should be a way. But if we increase that, I would definitely suggest time based over ML based. But as of now, ML based is taking the lead for me. Let's see. Do you recommend having a lot of info extractors as possible, or is it best to keep it limited? Depends on you. I mean, it depends on what information you want to grab. If you want to grab specific information for each, I'd suggest a lot. I usually use around like 5 to 8, maybe more, depending on how much information I want to grab or how many questions I'm asking with the voice AI. That's what I would suggest. So hopefully that helped, Matthew. Uh, Jay, this automation will be within my school community. I don't even know why it's not letting me share my screen. Are you guys able to see my screen or no? Because it's not letting me stop sharing it for some reason. Either way, just let me know whenever you guys get the chance. But yeah, my automation will be within that school community, and I'll send you guys the login link right now if you guys want it, so that way you can join. Where is this? Okay. There's a couple of you already on there that I already know of. Okay, yeah. You guys can't see my screen, so I don't even know what's going on. It doesn't let me reshare it. So no worries at all. We can just do it like that. No worries. So let me see what else. Can you use round robin for user assignment? Yeah, of course. Like if you want to use round robin, you could easily integrate it with GoHighLevel, and then that way you could assign it to each user if you'd like. I don't personally use round robin because I want them booked into one specific calendar for one person. But you can do it however you want, Chris. So hopefully that helped out. As a part of the workflow, can you add something like if called 2 times, wait for 4 hours until you try the third call? Yes, you could definitely do that, Jim. It just depends on how you format it. That's what's really the most important. I want to make sure you format it correctly. When they book an appointment, is it actually booking on the user's calendar? Yep, it is. So it is going to book into the user's calendar, Chris. So whatever calendar you connect onto the voice AI, it's going to book on there and make sure that it gets it done correctly. Let's see what else. Very appreciative of the recordings after these working sessions. Yeah, each and every one of them are recorded, man. So you will be able to get them. That's good. Also, I'm gonna allow hands to be raised right now. If anybody wants to hop on stage and obviously ask a couple of questions that I could answer, that'd be good. The only thing, keep in mind, I can't share my screen. I don't know what's going on, but it's not allowing me to, which is no big deal. But still, I'll be able to do my best verbally. Are we able to share the workflows like this build so we can look at it, how it's constructed? Yes, Jim, they're within my school community itself. Will the replay be sent? The replay is within the Google Doc that I showed you guys in the chat. So I'll follow up on ML versus time-based. We should make the agents ML-based for now. Yeah, for now. Until we actually do have like the increase in time. Because if we have the increase in, let's say, after 10 seconds, if nobody says anything, definitely leave the call. I would say that would be better, but depends. All right. Ivan, so I left the link to the AI Agency Vault, which is the school community. That says join for free. You could go in there, and then of course it's gonna actually go through an entire automation, which I had entire webinar on, and it's gonna send you a link to the school itself. But if you want the direct school link, I was gonna give you the cool experience with that. But if you want the lame experience, here it is. Hold on. There it is. All right. So this is like an email sequence, except it's interactive with AI, correct? Also, the Q&A tree is prompted, but can the AI chatbot engage intelligently off script if I upload enough data to train it? Yes, you can, Richard. You definitely can go off script if you'd like, but you need to make sure you train it correctly. That's the hardest part. I'm actually working on one of the main builds for this as well, where I give the AI complete flexibility to do whatever it wants throughout the call itself. But it obviously has the goals in mind of what needs to happen. It's kind of like a human itself. Once that comes, I'll do a webinar on it. That's gonna be insane. I'll think about sharing the prompt because it's gonna be, well, yeah, I'll probably share the prompt anyway, but still, it's gonna be pretty good. Okay, so let's see what else. Right, one more question: where is the video be posted after the session? I posted the video link in the Google Doc that I sent Jim, so hopefully that helps you out. Can you do a test call so we can hear the agents go through this workflow? Yes, I did a test call. The only thing is that I can't share my screen, which sucks. I would be able to show you everything. Here, I'm gonna try to refresh this whole thing. Give me 1 sec. If it kicks me out, all right. I'm back. Can you guys see me? I can share my screen now. Cool. Which one of these is it? I think it's this one. Share. And this is not the one. Trying to find the correct tab for it. Here it is. Nice. Okay. Let me know if you guys could hear this. Yeah, yeah, Steven. That's the cool. See, you see what I mean? That's the cool experience of actually going through the right path. So the AI agency vault, what I told you guys right here. So Steven just had a call with it. So he joined the school community, and then the AI called him, right? And then he had the cool experience. But anyway, I'll go back. Okay, so essentially, we're gonna go over the recording itself. Let me know if you guys could hear this.
Hi, is this Kevin?
Can you guys hear that? Before I go through the whole call. And I do see some of you guys with your hands raised, so I will get to you guys in just a sec. And let me pull up the chat. Okay, cool.
Hi, is this Kevin?
Yeah, it is.
Perfect. This is Emma from Southwest Mortgage Corporation. I noticed you reached out to us a while back about securing a mortgage. Do you have a quick 40 seconds to chat about it?
Yeah, I do. I remember.
No worries at all. Just to confirm, are you still looking to secure a mortgage for a new home purchase?
Yes, I was.
Great. Could you tell me where you are in the home buying process? Are you looking at listings, under contract, or perhaps have an offer pending?
I'm looking for listings basically still.
Got it. You're still looking at listings. When are you hoping to secure your mortgage? Within the next few months or a bit further out?
Next few months.
Awesome. Do you have a target mortgage amount in mind?
200,000.
Just to clarify, did you mean $100,000?
No, $200,000.
Got it, $200,000. Do you happen to know your credit score, or could you give an estimate? This helps us get a sense of what options might work best.
Yeah, it's 650.
If you could give me an... Thanks for sharing that. And what's your approximate annual income? This just helps us recommend the right financing options for you.
It's around 100K.
Great, thanks for that info. Could I grab your zip code for our records?
32792.
Perfect, thank you. And what's the best email to send additional info if needed?
K@gmail.com.
Could you please spell out the email address to make sure I have it correctly?
KAY@gmail.com.
Thanks for clarifying. Just so you know, at Southwest Mortgage, we work with a wide network of lenders to find competitive rates and flexible options that fit each client's situation. Would you be interested in scheduling a call with one of our mortgage specialists to discuss tailored options?
Yeah.
Great. Our team is in the Eastern time zone. Does that work for you, or are you in a different time zone?
No, that works. That works.
Awesome. I have openings on Monday, November 25th at 12 p.m. or 2 p.m., and Tuesday, November 26th at 10 a.m. or 12 p.m. Do any of these times work for you?
The last one.
Perfect. I'll book you for Tuesday, November 26th at 12 p.m.
All right, and then she just basically goes ahead and books me into the time, so on and so forth. But basically, that was with Natasha. This was a test call before I even changed it to Bria. Bria does sound a little bit different, but yeah, you guys could definitely go ahead and check Bria out. She's very good. Let me see what else. So Brian, I'm gonna get you on stage. You've had your hand up for quite a bit, so let's go ahead and do that. All right, Brian, just invited you.
I'm there. Hello.
What's good, brother? How you doing? Good to see you.
Good, man. So I'll start with the easier one first because I just had one and now turned into three. But in the information extractors, when you ask a question, it asks you to put like some sample answers. Isn't that right?
Yes, but I would recommend not putting any sample answers. And my reasoning for this is because sometimes it takes the sample answers and uses it as its actual answer.
Oh, okay. I'm glad
I
asked.
Very good to know because, and I appreciate you even bringing that up because I have had clients that basically go in and they have like the whole thing. They get like random meetings like booked with actual no time booked for itself. So that's because we added like an example to like the meeting book time or whatever it is. I think it had to do with the first name, and it kind of ruined like the email automation that we had. Because we had, keep in mind, this is an example, blah blah, and I gave it like Gianna or something like that. So that's something that I've seen happen in the past. So keep that in mind. All right.
Yeah, I didn't quite understand why it was needing those sample answers. I mean, it seems this AI is pretty smart. So if you're asking for a dollar amount or something, it's like, well, what do you need to know here?
Exactly.
So, cool. So I'm just putting do not use sample answers. That'd be the best outcome there.
Yeah, just leave it as is.
Okay. And then you said in that sample you just played, she said, "Hey, I'm in Eastern time zone. Does that work for you?" If you had said Central, would she adjust accordingly?
Of course, yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay. And then the reason I originally raised my hand was Richard's question. It brought my attention to the knowledge base because he was asking about more details of how the agent can handle the conversation. You had mentioned once before you don't really mess around with the knowledge base. I couldn't remember why you said that, and one of my guys was asking.
Of course, yeah. So the knowledge base really, there's like a very niche case scenario for the use of knowledge bases. The reason I don't use them that much is because I just add the information onto the prompt itself, so that way it doesn't take the time out of the voice AI. Let's say you ask me, if I'm the voice AI and you ask me, hey, what do you guys do about this policy, for example, right? I would know the answer to it immediately because I have the policy within my prompt itself. Other than if I had it in a knowledge base, it would take 2 to 3 seconds to go search the knowledge base, come back, and then give them the reply.
Okay, so in the prompt itself, the agent's already captured everything we have in that prompt, but then he or she knows to follow it in order, but still to reference a knowledge base because it's hit with a double hashtag or something as knowledge base when it falls outside the script? Or
Not entirely sure what you meant. Wait, could
well,
you rephrase that?
just like because we're telling it to do like one thing and then to move to the next thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Based on the way it's getting the feel from the person it's talking to. But the knowledge base is all the way at the bottom. How does it know to look there? I guess.
I see. So if you title it knowledge base, it knows it's a knowledge base.
So it just yeah. So rather
It
than
goes,
seeking
yeah.
outside, it just can do it right inside the prompt. Why not? But obviously, whoever made this software decided there was a reason for a knowledge base.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, there is a reason for the knowledge base for sure. Like, there's many different types of scenarios that you could use a knowledge base. If it's more of like an intricate thing, like for example, what happened to apartment complex like number 397, and then you have like all the information from like a database that you can pull from. That's what a knowledge base is for. But even at that case, I would use an API call to do that.
Oh, so the knowledge base has a way to actually connect to an outside source.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's why they made it.
So that might be what you'd use if you're trying to like address like actual listings and stuff. If you're creating a real estate agent bot and it needs to like know what's available in their area, you could actually pull that through a knowledge base.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that'll be a discussion for another time. But that's all I had for you, brother.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Alrighty. Okay, so if anyone else has any other questions, just either leave them in the chat or, of course, we do have 6 minutes left. So if anybody else wants to raise their hand right now, I could have you on stage. And then obviously I could answer last bit of questions on this part. Yeah, the knowledge base is missing in 2.0 for a reason, session. So yeah, is missing. Still consider the knowledge base. It really depends, but since I mentioned 2.0 is still getting updated majorly, so we'll have to get back to that once it's fully done. How long does it take to get approved to the school committee? Oh, that's me. Oops. I have to approve you guys. Hold on. Sorry, fellas. You guys should all be in now. Okay, so, all right. Let me see if we could get any more questions on here just so you guys can get your problem solved. The replay will be found within the Google Doc that I sent you guys right here. It's going to be right here. This is the meeting recording. So once this meeting gets finished, it's going to get obviously made into a video, and then we're going to publish it back into there. Sachin, the workflows are right here. So if you guys could see this. Where is it? The workflow itself is right here. This is the one that we just discussed. Cool. All right, fellas. Well, if there's no other questions, I really do appreciate you guys coming in. I'd love to stay in and talk for 4 extra minutes. I wouldn't mind at all. But if there's no other questions, then I feel like we should be good. We should be chilling. Definitely get your Synthflow merch. No affiliate link involved. I'm not sponsored. All right. You guys have a great weekend. That one looks empty, huh? Let me see. Maybe I'm tripping. No, it works. Works pretty well on here. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You guys have a great one. I'll stay here till the end of the call until everybody meets. You guys can start however dropping off or however you guys would like. I'm gonna do it like how my professor does it. He stays until the end. All right, let's see. Thank you, guys. Definitely don't lose the knowledge that I gave you guys today. It's you want to make sure to use all the strategies I gave you. I will see you, Lewis. I'll see you, Richard, Jim. Thank you, Joseph. I appreciate that. Thank you, Zachary. Paul, I will accept your membership in just a sec. Thank you, Jim. Let me accept everybody else right now. Should be updated now, Ivan. And by the way, if you guys have any other questions, I mean, I'm still here for quite a bit. Maybe refresh your page, Ivan, as well. And by the way, Ivan, the reason it's behind a paid wall is because I kind of showed it to you guys today. So that's why, if you guys want to go ahead and replicate it yourself throughout the video itself, you know, you could definitely do it through there. But I feel like it would just be, that's how I do it, through like using all my builds. It's not something that's just for this. Really impressed with what you demonstrated. Need to dig into understand next steps to implement this for our team. Yeah, man. Yeah, Paul. It's gonna be something amazing, man. I'm telling you. It's to build it's not as easy as it looks. That's why. And I don't even want to do it like this. Obviously, that's why there's a paywall behind it. But I gotta feed the team somehow. Just wanted to make sure there was always there was a way to claim it. Yeah, of course, Ivan. Of course, man. And then how it works is whenever you do claim it, I help you set it up entirely. That's the whole point of it. Yeah, of course, Jim. The prompt is in this Google Doc right here. That's for free. You can have that. I had some experience with YOLOPO and voice and AI voice. I like having this level of control. I'll let you get out of here, bro. No kidding. You're approved, Ali. Ali, you got work to do, man. Go get some more sales. I'm kidding. Ali's a goat. By the way, they gave me a hoodie, a Synthflow hoodie. It can schedule as many calls as you want, Steven. Gave me a hoodie and they gave me a shirt. They gave me everything. Okay. I wish everything. They have to drop more merch. It's actually really good. Not sponsored. I'm not sponsored. I promise. I get nothing from this. Synthflow is just goated. I got it, Ivan. I will. It should go ahead and book you into a meeting, but if not, I'll go ahead and start that for you, as well, Ivan. I appreciate it, man. Honestly, nice gear, Steven. Honestly, yeah. Ivan, can you give me your email as well, if you can, in the chat? Actually, I'll do you one better. I'll shoot you a message through here. Cool. Appreciate it, brother. Alrighty. This is gonna be great. I'm gonna stay here until the 10 of you guys have no questions. I see that. Hopefully most of them are not if away from their keyboards, but the extra help always helps. So honestly, if you guys even want to jump on, have a chat with me as well, just raise your hand. Ivan, okay. I see you have your hand raised. Ivan, how you doing, man? How can we copy what, Marcus? Hey, Ivan, how you doing, brother?
Hey, how's it going, man?
It's going good. It's going good.
Amazing. Hey, great webinar. That was very helpful.
Dude, of course, of course.
I
That's
just
why.
purchased.
Yep.
Sorry, I just joined the Synthflow free program, and I'm testing it out, and I'm definitely hoping to implement this solution for my clients. But I literally jumped like onto your call because it sounded really cool, and I'm like, holy shit, this is amazing.
I mean, imagine, bro. You're basically building out an entire sales team. Like at the end of the day, like if we're talking about 5 different prompts that obviously you'll be able to develop, and then kind of just having the whole sales team go throughout like the whole cycle and all that. So you can make as many follow-up calls as you want and so on and so forth. But dude, like you said, it's insane. It's awesome.
That is amazing, man. So how do we go about connecting for setting things up and the snapshot and all of those things?
So basically we'll book in a meeting and I'll go over the entire thing with you.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right. I will give you a booking link through school, so don't even worry about that, man. I will make sure you get set up correctly.
Great. So also, I just had one question. It's not relevant to what you just explained, but I've built a ton of stuff over on Closebot,
Okay.
and I'm wondering if there's a good way to kind of do a mesh of these two, like do what you just created as a starting point, and then do some kind of like text follow up or something along those lines. Do you think that's something viable? Or
100%.
do you
yeah, I've
and
seen
like
this.
conversion
Oh, yeah,
wise,
go
is it
ahead.
even worth it?
Yes, it definitely is. I see a lot of people that are using both Closebot as well as Voice AI because they can essentially use it for everything. We're talking about Instagram DMs. Like if you get an Instagram DM, the Closebot can reply to it. Emails,
Right.
Closebot can reply to it. And then imagine if you get like this is just the tip of the iceberg. What I showed you right here, because right now we had 5 outbound callers, but think about it when you have 5 outbound callers and 5 inbound callers. So what that means is every single one of their callers is going to have an inbound caller. So that way, whenever somebody goes and calls that number back, like a lot of people do, it'll go ahead and grab that number or grab that person, go through the same exact automation or like the same prompting, and still book them into meetings.
Right. So this is something that I was trying to I'm trying to put this new business together with the addition of the voice business model together, right? So
Yeah.
I was thinking because Synthflow doesn't allow to allow you to import a phone number from GoHighLevel. That means you have to purchase either a phone over on Synthflow or through Twilio, right?
Yes.
But that means that the client, the end, like my customer, will have two phone numbers, one for text messages and one for phone calls. So logistically, like, do I tell them like put both on your website and like specify this one's for messages and one for like
Let me tell you.
how
Let
do
me
I
tell
go about?
you. Yeah, yeah. No, I'll give you the best solution right now. The thing that I would definitely recommend for you to do is just connect your Go Ahead Level and your Synthflow to a Twilio account, so that way you could use the same phone number there. And they may not like it, but that's just the best solution for this. So that way you use the same number for calling, for inbound, and texting.
Okay. Do you have any experience, or do you know somebody who could help me with that? Because I've never connected Twilio before.
Yeah, of course, I do it myself all the time. Yeah. It's
Oh, okay,
relatively
great.
simple. Like
That works.
you make a Twilio account, and then where you connected your lead connector, you connect Twilio instead. You have to deactivate lead connector on Go High Level, and then connecting Twilio to Synthflow is very easy. You just go into integrations, and there's a Twilio tab. You can connect your SID and token.
So who's in charge of the billing for this purpose? Like, um, I guess what I'm trying to say is with high level, there's already rebilling, which means that the minutes and the text messages and all of those things are charged directly to the customer's card, to the client's card.
Mm-hmm.
But if I connect it through Twilio, because I joined Go High Level probably like 5 years ago or something.
Yeah.
And back in the day, it was still with Twilio, and I remember
Yeah.
that you used to have to go in there and submit their campaigns through their platform, and it was a nightmare. So I don't know if things have changed, but and I don't recall if back in the day, because I was just learning the platform, you could activate rebilling.
Yeah, so essentially, you can activate rebuilding, like you mentioned. Synthflow, Go Ahead Level was with Twilio beforehand, which means that they started doing rebuilding with Twilio. So since they started doing rebuilding with Twilio, it works perfectly with Twilio as well. It's the same thing. Lead Connector came after, where that just became something that Go High Level can make more money off of. Just another one of their plans. And the campaign itself, like how you implement a campaign, it is kind of the same thing that you explained, where you have to make sure to get them A to P verified. But it's the same thing with Lead Connector as well. You have to make a campaign to get them A to P verified. But they made it very simple right now, so it's relatively simple to do it still.
That's good to hear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, glad to have you in here, Ivan, and then I'm sure we'll talk very soon as well.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Looking forward to it.
Of course. Check your school inbox when you get the chance.
Will do. Have a good day.
You too. All right, guys. I believe. Let me see. Steven. I'm going to do two more, and then I should be good. Let's go with Steven. Hi, Steven. Hey, Steven. How you doing, man?
I am well. Thanks for asking.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Love to hear it, brother.
Ivan kind of stole some of my thunder there, but that's okay because I was asking pretty much the same question on integrations with Go High Level or
Okay.
any other integrations that will work. So a little bit about what I'm doing, and it kind of like is in the real estate field, but what I'm doing is I actually have another system that I'm using for my I would call it inbound agents,
Okay.
and what it is actually pretty good as far, and not saying that your system is not, just saying that I just got introduced to that one first, but
Yeah.
I was looking for a solution for outbound. So are you saying that with Synthflow that I could have both in the same system, which would be more advantageous?
100%, man. I mean, I do it with almost every single client because every single time you have an outbound one, you want to make sure you also have an inbound one. So that way, if somebody calls back, they have the same number and they can go through the same exact script, essentially. The inbound one is just going to say something along the lines of, hey, I actually saw that you, sorry, hey, are you one of the guys that, or sorry, are you the guy that I talked to earlier or like I called earlier or something like along the lines? I'm kind of making it up. Uh, and then the person would say, "Oh yeah, yeah, I saw I missed a call from you," or something like that. And then we go over the prompt, go over the script, and go back into it until they book them into a meeting or something.
Right. So no, that's very good.
Yeah.
The other question is now my particular inbound system, I'm able to do a web integration to people's websites. Um, is that possible with Synthflow?
What does it do?
Well, actually, it's like an AI agent on a person's website, and also with if they dial a certain phone number, then they get that AI agent as well.
You're talking about a widget?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have Synthflow has widgets, like very good real time widgets that are able to book people into meetings now as well. So not only will they have a conversation with the person, but if the person gets interested throughout the call, you can have it set up so it can book meetings for you.
Right. Right. So with that being said, um, I was kind of looking for a good outbound system because I'm going to be doing cold calls, which again get rid of the instances of hiring a call center, and also on the inbound, I was because I had already set that up, that I was getting traffic to my website, which was handling, I could put the phone number in my emails as well as on my website, and then that would answer all the questions and also recruit people and book appointments as well. So, and I just happened to, find your meeting today, and was very curious on how all that was put together. So, what other integrations beside GoHighLevel is Synthflow capable of doing?
Well, you name it. I mean, I think it's all all integrations that revolve around API. If you're good with API as well, you can connect to almost any other
Okay,
platform.
right. So it's API has its
100%.
own API, right? That's awesome. Yeah.
Yep, that's the most important part, in my opinion. At least, if you know how to use custom actions, is what we call it in Synthflow. If you know how to use API, you're gonna kill it with this.
Right. So just out of curiosity, and I just want to be honest. I like being honest on
Of course.
different subjects. Is what would you say if I put this whole system inbound, outbound would be like general cost between your other competitors?
Oh, you're talking about kind of like what would happen if
Yeah, I mean, as
we
far
use
as cost is concerned, like if let's just have a general, I have 100 outbound calls in a month, and maybe 100, inbound calls during a month. I mean, is there like a price per minute or something like that? I'm just curious to know.
Yeah. Synthflow has a 13-cent price per minute. Uh, and in terms of how it does compared to other platforms, I've seen many people switch over to Synthflow, and me personally, I've gone over almost every single platform you could possibly think of for voice AI. Synthflow is the best, like hands down. And I'm not biased. I'm just going. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the quality. I'll tell you that much because I use it for everybody that I work with.
Right, and also, and I'm kind of drawing a blank right now, but there is a LLM out there that's can generate voice, different types of voices. Synthflow, they integrate with that as well with API integration.
Well, we have many different types of voices already.
11. What is it called? 11.
11 Labs.
11 Labs. You're right.
Yep, it's already integrated on there.
Nice.
Yep. So we have around like 58 or way more voices than that, and then plus you can add your own if you'd like from 11 Labs.
Oh wow, I can clone my own voice. That's hot. That's hot. That's really.
I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you, like Synthflow is the best for a reason, and I'm not biased. This is just what it is.
No, well, that's great because I was actually doing some research, and like I said, I kind of stumbled upon you today, and I'm happy that I was able to do that because I'm actually setting up something for some real estate brokers that I'm trying to do business with and get them totally automated. So that's
Yes,
what I'm
sir.
trying to do. So that's why I'm asking all these specific questions, but I really appreciate the time that you've been taking to answer people's questions and and do demos. So that's great.
100%, man. Well, I appreciate you jumping on, bro.
Definitely. So I joined your school, and I want to learn more, especially
Of course.
about the workflows and things of that nature. And I guess I'm a student now, so I appreciate it.
Hell yeah, man. Let's do it. Text me on there or DM me on there whenever you'd like, and I'm always down to help. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course, brother. Have a good one. And then lastly, let's go ahead and get you on here, Marcus. Then we could call it a day. If you're still on here, Marcus. I don't think Marcus is with us anymore. No problem at all. All right, guys. I do appreciate you guys for coming over and staying for this long. I will see you guys very soon. My voice is tired, so I'm going to call it a day. Thank you, guys. I will catch you guys in the next one. Have a great one. Peace.